Chris, this is your baby, my friend. Welcome to the Manchester United show. What are we doing?
Oh, we're waking up. Jesus, right. Unpopular opinions. So this week we're looking at world-class players that City have had. Quite specific. It's Premier League era, but it's pre-2010. I think we decided for it to be a world-class player sort of qualification, they're one of those players that you could think could walk into any team. So
yeah.
That's kind of the.
This is such a hard thing to do because I've done a bit of research on this, as you would, and I came away asking myself more questions about this topic than I know answers to.
Yeah.
So
exactly my point.
Can I ask my first question?
Well,
do you count 2010 as a year, or is it 2009 and before?
I'd say 2009 before, because 2010 we did get some decent players.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm looking at our list of the players I've got here. So in 2010, we signed David Silva, Yaya Toure, and Patrick Vieira. Granted, Vieira was on the cusp of his career, but for me, the job he did, I still think he could have got into any team.
Yeah.
Do you know what? That's actually a good point. So, are we counting them just as when they were City players or beforehand?
Exactly. And this was the second question. We're talking about the peak because David Silva was not world class when he signed for us in 2010.
No.
And Yaya Toure was potentially there or thereabouts. I think Yaya could have got into any team in the world.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I was going. So for me, it was the 2009-2010 season was the cut-off.
Okay.
So like you said, the players like David Silva that we signed in 2010, effectively it's before Mancini's first proper summer.
Yeah.
That was the 2010-11, wasn't it, where he was at the helm from the off. As for, again, it's... even I was questioning this for the whole... Is it while they were just at City? Because we've had so many quality players. And then I was looking at. I mean, I've got a list. I've got 3. I think were world class players. I've then got about 10, maybe 15 that were
arguably.
I've got borderline cases for. And I mean, just to throw one in. One was Steve McManaman. Yeah. One was Steve McManaman. And you think,
right, hang on. We need to start.
Wait.
Can we start this again?
If I was like looking at his career, and I was like, well, could you count him as a world class player? I mean, he's won stuff at Liverpool. He won stuff at Real. He was a quality player. I know
he was a legend for Real, wasn't he? So.
He was getting towards the end of his career. I know with City, but it's like even Ali Benarbia. We signed Benarbia from PSG. He could have pretty much gone to anywhere in Serie A at the time and done a world class job just because he came to City and we was playing Division 1. So, but again, they were all borderline cases. He isn't. I didn't put him down as an out and out world class player. So don't worry, Steve McManaman didn't make the cut. You don't have to worry.
I think for me, I've got the 3 I mentioned. I've got Silva, Yaya, and Vieira, which we're not counting anymore. That's fine. So I've got 6 players, right? And out of those 6 players, I think that we only ever have signed 2 world-class get into any squad type players. And I think over the whole of City's history, we've only ever signed 2 world-class players that were world-class at the time.
Okay.
Do we tell you they are?
Yeah.
Robinho and Tevez. I think they're the only 2 players that City have ever signed that would get into any squad. I look at this, I'm thinking to myself, the rest of my list, I don't know if you want me to go through these one by one or...
Yeah, you can do. Yeah,
I'm thinking we signed Company in 2008. It was definitely not world class for 3 or 4 seasons after that.
No.
And then we've got Anelka, who very much on the cusp of this for me. I loved Anelka. He was a fantastic striker, and I genuinely think he could have left us to any club in the world. And then before that, I've got Benarbia and Kinkadze. Now see, this is painful for me to say this. This is going to hurt a lot of people. I rate Kinkladze so much. I've still got 2 or 3 posters in my loft that I'm never going to get rid of. When I was a boy, and when we played, there's guys selling them outside the stadium. So I pestered me, Dad, can I have one of these posters every bloody home game?
Yeah.
So got 3 of these posters. Kinkladze was my hero. Was he ever world class?
See, I said not, and reason I say not that he wasn't a good player for us, but it didn't really kick on, did he? Do you know what I mean? Really, if he were world class, we'd have been a stepping stone at that time, wouldn't we? So it'd been like now somebody playing for Burnley, then coming to us.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not slagging us off at that time, but that's what it was. He went to Ajax, played 10 games, and then went to Derby.
Yeah. And that's the only massive question mark. Right? If he was as good as what as however old I was, Tom thought he was, why was he not linked with other clubs around the world? And that's the only thing stopping me from saying he was world class, that he wasn't linked or bought by the top 10 clubs in the world. And that's the only thing for me. And it pains me a little bit to say that because he's a hero of mine. But was he world class? I don't think he was.
Well,
see, to me as well, it's in terms of it being just a world class player. I was looking at not only the technical ability and what they could do on a pitch, but also like the mentality of the player.
Yeah.
Kinkladze wasn't one of those players. I mean, he went to Ajax and he just couldn't settle in. He couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Which is why he played 10 games, was fairly shite, and then ended up at Derby and pottering around. And I think that was it was more his mindset that was the issue. He settled in Manchester all right, but at the time, you know, would he have been able to go into United's squad and get in? He probably wouldn't.
No.
And again, I think it's the mentality of the player. You know, it's because he was the first on my list, but again, he's on my list of arguables. I couldn't count him as a world-class player.
You see, I text my Man United mate about this just to get sort of an outside opinion, and he did actually say Kinkladze. He thought he was world class, and he'd have loved him at United. So it's just an opinion thing, but I personally won't say what. I mean, I'm even arguing against Robinho. I know everybody wanted him, but on what you're saying, Chris, did he have the staying power? He did a brilliant first season, then did nothing, but went to AC Milan. So,
well, that's it. It's like I look at Kinkladze. He did go to Ajax. I could easily have seen Kinkladze going to somewhere like Inter Milan, Juventus. He could have gone to anywhere in Europe, really, at the time when he was with us. But I don't think he'd have, like you said, I don't think he'd have kicked on with it. I think he'd have just, like he did with Ajax, he'd have just flopped.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Robinho. I mean, he was all right for that first season. Then it just all went pear-shaped. And a move to AC Milan. AC Milan weren't the team they were, you know, once upon a time.
No.
And he did all right, but could he have gone into Barca anyway? I don't think he could.
Can I ask you two, out of all the players, and forgetting the 2010 bracket that we're using, just a side question, who are the world class players City have bought, or do you agree with me that we've never actually bought world class? We make the world class.
Tevez I'd say we bought Tevez. Tevez could have gone anywhere.
Agreed.
It was just the touch that he came from United to us. But at the time, Adebayor, I reckon he could have classed him as world class when we signed him. And then, but he had that unlucky thing when he got shot at in Togo, and he was never same guy, never same player for us, were he? If that hadn't happened, we could have been looking at a City legend, 30 goal season guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you think how many games he lost because of that?
That honestly, when Adebayor scored against Arsenal, that is still
the best moment.
One of the funniest things. I've been to a lot of away games with a lot of drunk mates, and I still class Adebayor running down the pitch as one of the funniest things I've seen at a stadium.
Yeah,
I've never seen the bugger run.
Hello. Yeah. Honestly, I still laugh when I watch it now.
Yeah, when they're all throwing lighters at him and that.
Yeah.
A lot. And he's just touching in it.
I thought I sort of got a small child get thrown past him at one point. We're going off topic there, aren't we? Going off topic. But where do you stand on Bernabeu?
I don't know again, because he came to us. Am I right in thinking we were in Championship when we signed him?
Yeah. Division 1.
So you got to think he were from PSG. Were anybody else after him? If anybody else were after him, would he chose us? I don't know. He was a decent player though, and a nice guy.
Yeah, I was torn on that one because I think he came to City. I think as a lot of players did at that time because of Keegan. Keegan had that pulling power. You know, it was like, oh my God, Kevin Keegan's gone to this club in Division 1. You know, he's ex-England manager. He was doing it with Newcastle.
Yeah.
Legend of the game. There must be something it's not just it's not just a folly. There is something clearly going on there. And I think after a conversation with him, I think he could have probably got most, provided we could have afforded it, he could have got most players to follow him. You know, he's got the same sort of pulling power Pep has now.
Yeah, it's a fair point, actually. I would have run through brick walls for Keegan.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not as good as Sparky, don't get me wrong, but it's...
Come on. Come on.
I still think, though, Anelka was a world-class player when we signed him. I mean, if you think in '99, he was playing for Real Madrid, earning 60 grand a week. You know, and he was one of the top earners at Real Madrid. He did a good job there. He came to us, and then everywhere he's been, he's done the job. He's been quite, to me, Nicholas Anelka was one of those players. He wasn't necessarily in the limelight at every club he was at. Apart from, you know, he was the big guy at City, but everywhere else, he was kind of just one of the quiet ones almost.
Chelsea sold him after winning. He won Golden Boot, didn't he?
Yeah.
He won Golden Boot. Chelsea sold him, and everybody just thinks there's Drogba as Chelsea striker, don't they?
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, I had this debate with Dan yesterday about Alano, and I don't think you were world class, but when we first signed him, I dare say he could have got into a lot of teams, a hell of a lot of teams. He was a very good player. And I think, similar to what you're saying about Keegan bringing players in, I think Sven brought him in, attracted a player of quality to come to the City project.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's, again, it's like, what about Daniel Van Buiten?
Yeah, I was going to say
next. That's the job I thought of him.
I know you were saying about Vincent Kompany when we bought him. You know, he wasn't nearly world class when we bought him as such, but the potential was there. As you know, I still I was looking at it thinking, could you argue that any of the teams in any of the top teams in Europe, if they'd have, said he's got something, we'll give him a chance. I think if he could have got there. It's whether they'd have, because obviously, like teams like Barca and Real and Juve, Bayern, they all have really good academies anyway. So they usually try to tend to favour their own. But I think if someone said, right, he's there for free, they're going to snap him up, I think they'd be fighting for him. When City signed him.
It came out, didn't it, that Ferguson had been scouting Kompany, but they questioned his lack of speed. That's why they didn't go for him.
Amazing.
Can you imagine in another reality he's played for Man U and we all hate him?
God.
Isn't it?
Crazy.
In the same reality that Giggs never left us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we can class Van Buiten as world class. Just purely because he was only with us for like 7 games or something. He wasn't with us that long.
No.
And for me, it was brilliant. And do you know what? I was absolutely devastated when I found out we could have signed him for £3.5 million, and he went to, was it Hamburg? Hamburg?
I think he went to Hamburg, then he went to Munich, didn't he?
That's right, yeah. So he went to Hamburg after City. 5 games he played for City, and I was devastated when I found out we could have signed him for £3.5 million and didn't snap him up. I was gutted.
That was just his mentality then, though, wasn't it? We just didn't seem to like to spend money.
Yeah.
When was that? 2004.
Pardon?
2004.
Yeah. We should do a podcast on how many shit players we signed. It'd take about 3 hours.
Oh,
Part 1.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
It's hard. I mean, we're on about the debate for world class, but it's also, I mean, a lot of people have been saying about us, like, labelling City players as legends or City greats, but it's all opinionated, isn't it? Like I think Negredo could have been classed as world class and a decent. Oh, even after 2010, wasn't it? But like, it is just opinion based, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. If I was to ask you one question, then, out of the lists that both you two have got, who's the one player where you think they're world class and other people will think that too?
Tevez. That's about it.
So basically, what we're saying, I agree with you. So Tevez is the only world class player City have ever signed.
Pre-2010.
But I don't think we've signed anyone after that was world class. We've made players world class. Oh, have we? Yaya Toure, actually.
Yeah, because he was champions, literally just won Champions League, hadn't he?
Yeah, I think Yaya Toure could have gone anyway. I mean, we were paying him like £400,000 million a week, weren't we? So I'm not surprised he signed for us. So for me, anyone else after Toure and Tevez? Just those two that you'd say they were world class when we signed them?
Kyle Walker?
I don't know about world class.
See, I was thinking Sterling as well.
Yeah.
I think some of the girls he's been signing have been world class, but I don't think...
No, I think Walker was the best right back in the Premier League when we signed him, in my eyes, anyway. So
yeah, good point, actually. It's not my point.
I don't know, like you say, maybe not world class. I mean, like you say, I bet his parties are.
His parties are in, yeah. I'm extremely disappointed we're not getting invited to one.
If you think, though, that Kieran Trippier has signed for Atletico Madrid, and you've got to say Atletico are a top team these days, could you see Walker going to any of the clubs in Europe? Like, could you see him getting in over Trippier at Atletico? Because I could see him going to Juventus and getting in the first team. I could see him going to PSG and probably getting in the first team. I could see him, not with Bayern, because they're just like German players and like whinging. But you could see him going to Dortmund and probably getting in.
I know, and we're looking at the Kyle Walker now, who's touching 30, isn't he?
Yeah.
So if you think the Walker we signed 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, whatever it was, so yeah, Kyle Walker, you've made the cut, son.
See, I've only got one other player on my what I think is a world class player, and that was Nigel De Jong.
I like De Jong, but I won't class him as world class, mate.
I was tempted to chuck him in, but no, he did nothing after us.
At the time, though, could you name a better defensive midfielder than Nigel De Jong? Arguably, possibly, Javier Mascherano, but I mean, De Jong played in a World Cup final.
Yeah.
So he's not exactly on the shit scale by any means of the imagination. I couldn't think of any better defensive midfielder at the time. To me, on that basis, it's like, well, it's a niche market, but that's why I've put him in as a world class player.
I don't know.
I can't think of anyone that did his job.
Yeah, but he just couldn't pass ball, could he?
He wasn't that type of player, because that was what Gareth Barry was for. That's why him and Barry worked together in that sort of holding role. But as just an out and out, a ball winning midfielder who I'll never forget that one shot, that one goal he scored that was like
against
30 odd yards out, leathered it, and then every time he touched it, then everyone just shouted.
Was that the one where he slide tackled it into the top right hand corner? Do you remember that one?
I don't know.
De Jong's.
Now I remember the Liverpool goal, and I remember he scored against West Ham as well. Because I used to have a pound on him to score first goal every game because it was 50-1. And the one game I didn't do it, he scored first against West Ham.
That was with the worldie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't class him as world class, I'm afraid, Chris. I'll have to go against you on that one. I get what you're saying, but would he have got into? He wouldn't have got into Barcelona's team at the time. And
I don't think they played with that sort of player. I mean, they just had Xavi and Iniesta. So again, I was looking at it thinking, would they ever go? I don't think they ever really use a defensive midfielder. They just use players that can pass it and pass it.
Well, that's why they sold Torre, isn't it?
Yeah, because he didn't fit the mould.
Yeah. Thank you, Barcelona.
But saying that, I think he could have got in at Real Madrid because I think he was better than Sami Khedira.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Sami Khedira was still playing at Juventus, isn't he? Is it Juventus or is it Dortmund?
I think he is. I don't know where he's gone to now.
Yeah. Yeah, so really, we have been a bit shit, haven't we? Like George Way.
Oh, George Way, yeah. See, I honestly think, other than his goal for AC Milan, where he, from the back of his own penalty area, he took that corner down in one motion, went the length of the pitch and scored. I think there was always better strikers than him.
Yeah, but we signed him out and the back of an ex-Ballon d'Or winner and all that.
Mm.
And he just never lived up to it, did he? And now he's president of Libya or something, isn't he?
Do you remember that summer when George Weah and One Shot were coming in? I remember City played a friendly at Stockport away, and we signed them two like a week or two beforehand. And I'm sure we're getting beat by Stockport. I'm sure we got beat by Stockport. And I just think to myself, what have they signed for?
Is that when that Aaron Wilbraham scored against us?
I can't remember, mate. I was
too
drunk then.
Yeah, he was a City academy graduate. Big City fan though. Where he always talks about City. So
and again, George Weah was only with us for half a dozen games.
Mm. Yeah, he didn't get on, did he? He fell out with people and was a bit of an arsehole from all accounts.
All ego.
Yeah.
Scored some goals for Milan though, didn't he?
Well, yeah. There's two players I think we should have mentioned though. And I've got Shawnee Wright and I've got Mika Richards.
Oh no, we can't. Richards, not world class.
When he was at his heyday, I mean, it wasn't for injuries. It wasn't for injuries though. I mean, he was in the England squad. I certainly think he could have gone to a lot of teams.
But it's like what you say, innit? Like, to be world class, you can't be injury prone, can you?
Well, I think up until sort of, what was it, 2008, 2000, I don't think he was injured. I think he just had one bad injury, and then it was a bit like Michael Johnson. You get one injury, and it's just one of those that you can't ever shake off. And I think that's what happened to him. I mean, he ended up then at Villa, but he was a shadow of a man.
Yeah.
You know,
big old unit, though, wasn't he?
He was huge, wasn't he? What a great player he was, though.
He was a great player.
Yeah.
Big
so
unit.
What would you say about Shawnee Wright, then?
Well,
I mean, if you think at the time he went a massive signing to Chelsea, and it was just, I think they ruined him just because of the mentality Chelsea had at the time. It was like, we'll just buy whatever we want. And
I just think he's another one, probably, and this is no offence to him because he is a City legend. He's just
fan of the show.
not, but yeah, is he? mentally, a bit not that to kick on to the next stage. Do you get what I mean? He went with a monkey on his back of that price tag, and he just never seemed to kick on. But I mean, if you see recent interviews with him, he said he never wanted to leave City, but we had to sell him.
Yeah, financially we're knackered, weren't we?
Yeah.
I think if we'd have kept him for another season or two at that time, I think he'd have developed more comfortably. He'd developed into a much better player. And I think he could have been like the next McManaman because he broke into the England squad. He was getting praised there. Everything was going in the right direction for him. Like I said, he then ended up at Chelsea where it was just, at that time, it was a team of mercenaries. They didn't give a fuck. It was just, let's buy whoever we want and throw money at the situation. And I think he was just kind of like, this isn't a team anymore. And he kind of lost him. When he came back, he basically picked up where he left off. He hadn't developed or anything. He was just back to square one.
But he wasn't like a Billy Big Bollocks either. And like you say, in that Chelsea team then, you sort of needed to be, didn't you? I mean, look at Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah. He never made it there, did he?
No. There was no place for the nice guy there. It was all egos, wasn't it? It was just...
I find it very hard to put either of them in my world-class bracket. But one bracket they will be going in is I have both of them. We don't get anyone on the page. Those two will go down as legendary status for me. Sean Wright for 21 million quid's worth of cash in the bank for City. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
and what he did. And he was a bright light in a couple of dull games, and he was fantastic to watch. And Micah Richards, him and Sean Wright on the right wing was brilliant. And I used to love the fact that we had England's right wing playing for us, right back.
I did.
And Sean Wright on right wing. I loved that with both of them. That was great. That was a cracking time to watch football with them too.
Yeah. Like you say, Mika, legend. Probably could have been world class if he'd have not been injured as much. But it just, like you said, injuries just ruined him. And Sean Wright, maybe if he just had a bit more about him. No offence, Sean.
No.
But good to see how his son gets on, DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Really good to see his development in City.
Let's just hope he doesn't end up like most of them, where it's like they're just playing off the dad's name. So many players like that. I mean, Jordi Cruyff, he was playing off his dad's name. Nicky Summerby, no disrespect to him, but he was nothing like his dad. We don't. Fingers crossed, he ends up an out and out player in his own right.
Hopefully.
Well, it's been a bit of a depressing one, this, hasn't it? That we realise how shit we were.
It's hard though, isn't it? Because we have to be realistic on this pod, as well as very emotional towards City. Because we've all got a load of love for City, but we have to be realistic. City. One thing I have noticed from doing a bit of research with this is how well City have done to get players and make them world class. There's more of them than actually signed for us that was world class, which I think is really good. I think that's really good. Our scouting network, etc., has done fantastically well. Go on, sorry.
And as we've said numerous times, me and Dave always said it. It doesn't matter whether we make them world class. We sell them for shit. Look at Nicholas Anelka. We made a loss on him, and we argued that he was built in at City. Look at Tevez. We lost on Tevez. There was numerous players that we've, like you said, that we've had over the years that we've bought. They've developed. I think over the since the takeover, I think there was 5 players we've made a profit on. But even before then, we were buying players for stupid money and not getting it back.
I think Anelka's a bit of a harsh one to say we didn't make any money. We only bought him for like 12, 13 million, didn't we? Sold him for what, 7, 8, 9?
Yeah.
This was a long time ago. This was. Oh, when did Anelka leave us?
Right. Just while we're looking for this, who do you think we've signed that should have been? It was touted as world class and then never lived up to it. Because I'm thinking Santa Cruz came with a bit of a reputation as going to be world class and did nothing.
It's another one with injuries, wasn't it, though?
Jovetic, maybe, same again, injuries.
There's been loads of little strikers, like when Bianchi came in, I thought he's going to be an absolute world beater, and I was so disappointed. I liked him. Jovetic was a good one.
Bianchi.
Bozjanov.
Valery Bozjanov, yeah.
Bozjanov. I had so many good hopes of Bozjanov coming in.
Yeah, he looked like a similar Tevez sort of player then, didn't he, when he come on?
Yeah. He's a bit of a beast, wasn't he? He was a short, stocky little bugger.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it. Like, I mean, obviously there was Mangala was touted as all sorts when we signed him, but whether he was ever classed as world class when we were supposed to buy him, I don't think we did.
Well, everybody were after him, weren't they? And we paid 30 million for him, which was a lot at the time.
Monday,
But whatever, something's not right with him. I genuinely thought after that Chelsea game, what signing, but then fucking went downhill, didn't it?
It's hard, isn't it?
I've got 2 others I want to run by you, and these were both to me on my arguable list. One of them, I know Dan's going to slate me for straight away, and probably you as well, Tom, is Bellamy.
I knew you. I've been waiting. I mean, on a countdown.
To me, I think the only thing that would have stopped him, in my opinion, being world-class player, was his issue with his knees, and the fact I always saw him as more of a home country boy. I could never see Bellamy living it up in Italy or Spain, or even playing in Germany. I think he was too much of he just wants to be in this country. He's happy over it. He's one of those who just doesn't want to leave kind of player, because he was a journeyman.
Yeah, I can get
he went everywhere. Everywhere he went, he won something with. He went to Liverpool and did well. did well at City. He always put 110 effort in. But I think that was the only thing that stopped it from it. And the other one is Joe Hart. Because even in those, I mean, was it the 2009 season when he was playing for Birmingham?
Yeah,
a team that was
well.
touted for relegation, and he wins the Golden Glove. He made it into the England squad at that point, dislodging some quality keepers at the time.
Yeah, maybe Joe Hart.
He got even better, but I still think it's hard because I think at the time, obviously, you look at Real Madrid and they had Iker Casillas in goal. So,
yeah,
Nick, goalkeeper in the world, who was going to dislodge him anyway. Yeah. Same with Bayern Munich. They had Manuel Neuer, who was going to dislodge him at the time. That's
Barcelona had Claudio Bravo.
It's funny about Joe Hart, isn't it? Because when I look back, and I used to love Joe Hart.
So did I.
I'm for him. And it would have been when his absolute pomp. Remember that game against Barcelona where he just basically shut the back door on Messi? And it was just like, do you know what? I wouldn't have anyone else. I would not want any other striker, any other keeper in the world. But now I would say exactly the same about Edison.
Yeah.
Joe Hart saved a penalty against Messi that day.
Yeah. I'm sure he did.
I'm sure because that was the only way Messi was even going to get a chance to score because Company had him in his back pocket.
It was brilliant.
I'm sure Company got sent off, but he had a penalty and he still didn't score it.
It's a shame how Joe's career sort of spiraled, isn't it?
Just proper petered out, didn't it?
And I know we're on about world-class players, but I wonder if Joe Hart will actually think favourably on City when he actually retires, or will he be bitter about it? Because there's definitely a pattern in him getting loaned out to Italy to him declining, isn't there?
I blame Pep. I blame Pep for his decline.
Well, yeah, he might do, but do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'd like to think not. I'd like to think he'd come back and be a similar role in like Sean Wright Phillips and that are like ambassador. But you don't know, do you? I'd even as a coach, bring him back as a coach.
I think he'd be great for the younger ones. But I honestly think it was Pep was the reason his career's panned. If you look at who he was England's number one. He'd won the league with City on numerous occasions. He'd won the FA Cup. He'd won the League Cup. He'd played in a Champions League semi-final and, we narrowly went out on. And then all of a sudden the manager comes in and basically said, "You're shit. I don't want it." Which,
Yeah, I can't agree with you there, Chris. I think that in any walk of life, you're going to get a manager that likes you and a manager that doesn't like you. You can't blame your downfall in work down to one person. If you were to go to another business elsewhere and did a shit job, you can't say, "Oh, I'm shit now because my previous boss said I was shit."
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not defending Joe Hart on that respect because I suppose you'd have thought he'd have been a bit more headstrong if that's because it was one of them. But it's like, look at Loris Karius now, one of City's former players. He was doing all right. That Champions League final absolutely destroyed him. He has never been the same since. And it's just one of those things, I think, it's horrible. I think it's like a mental health thing, I know it's mental health week, whatever, or just been. But I think it's one of those things. They've just let it eat him alive. And I think that's what happened with Joe Hart. You think you're a number one international and you end up in Italy. You're not even with AC Milan, Inter Milan, Napoli. You're with Torino.
Yeah.
It's shit. And then when you get there, it's just you just can't shake it. And he didn't do amazingly well for Torino, but he didn't do shite either. He was just a mediocre going between the sticks and no one really notices.
I think also not just his ability that Pep didn't like. I think from what I heard at the time, Joe Hart was a big Pellegrini fan and a big voice in dressing room. Yeah. And I think he was a bit. They didn't like how he got trapped, Pellegrini, and I think that's another reason he got moved on. I don't think it was just down to Pep, but I think they wanted to bring a bit of order in dressing room. I think similar thing to like why they got rid of Tevez and Robinho and that.
And Bellamy.
Yeah.
They all like the previous manager, so they all sack him off.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say though, Chris, I won't call Bellamy world class, even though he played for Liverpool. No, I'm not just digging it into you, but
no, I know.
I mean, do you remember that Albert Riera, that left winger who played for us?
Yeah.
He was shit, and Liverpool signed him. So, but I mean, I liked Bellamy, and Bellamy's a bit like a Robbie Savage. You'd love him in your team, but you hate him if he's not in your team. Don't you?
Yeah, a bit like Joey Barton.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird, like Joey Barton. But I'm not going to lie, I actually questioned was Joey Barton world class in my head because he was a decent player for us, and he went on to play for Marseille and QPR, Newcastle. But when Newcastle signed him, they were having a go, weren't they?
Yeah.
Newcastle signed him to have a go. It just didn't work out. But another one, very controversial, and I don't think many City fans like him nowadays, do they?
I don't know. I think if it was his antics against City on the last game of the season that kind of helped win us the league.
Yeah.
I think he knew what he was doing, especially when he was on his way off and he's giving the kicking into Aguero. It was almost as if he was trying to fire everyone up. He becomes a massive villain. He's just gone and kicked our star striker. You know, it was like the pantomime bad guy.
I remember meeting him once round Donny Town Centre because his brother were locked up in Donny. So he used to come visit his brother and go round Donny. And we seen him, me and my mate. And my mate asked him if he'd ever signed for Man U. And he says, why would I sign for them? The shit.
Love it.
He's doing a fairly decent job, isn't he now? Is it Fleetwood he's at as manager? He's doing all right with them.
He got locked up, didn't he, for punching Barnsley manager?
Oh,
what a nutcase. Crikey. You know, so he's going onwards, isn't he?
Yeah. So where are we going now then, lads? What's his next one? Have we covered them all?
I think that's it for me. I feel a bit like I've got the world off my chest there by saying actually we've not really signed many world class strikers. So everyone's saying we're buying the league. Well, actually, no. Yeah, the only previous ones we've signed are Tevez and Torre. So I feel a bit vindicated with myself there.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a minute then. After it, what about De Bruyne?
I don't think he was world class when he signed for.
Paid a lot for him though, didn't we?
Your mate, sorry.
We paid a lot for him at the time.
53 million.
Oh, I'm not saying it were a lot like it were expensive, but I mean it were a hell of a sum to say they weren't touted as world class. I mean, do you remember all Sky Sports was saying, weren't they? He's not a £50 million player.
Yeah, there's that note that what's his name? Phil Thompson. No, not Phil Thompson. Paul Merson. He had a rant, didn't he, about City spending the money on him?
Yeah.
Idiot.
Bless him.
It's a hard one, isn't it? But it's funny, isn't it? Because I didn't know. Would I have said he's world class if I knew more about the Bundesliga? I'd never watched him enough. When we signed, it was like, oh right, okay. For how much? Crikey, right? Yeah, I hope he's good. I had no idea he'd go on to do what he's done for City now. No idea.
No. I remember his debut, and he sort of played right wing. He didn't play centre. He sort of played right wing. He were under Pellegrini, wasn't it? And I remember saying to lads after, I'm like, that was the De Bruyne show. I was like, he's magic. I remember even just after his first game, just thinking he was something special.
Yeah.
But he's world class now, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I think he was a bit of a diamond in the rough though when we got him, because obviously he'd already had his time at Chelsea, which didn't work out for him. He went, instead of going to another big club, he went to, was it Wolfsburg we got him from?
Yeah.
And he was just a good team, and he just did his bit. And he was one of their star players, which is why he cost so much. But
and he just won Bundesliga Player of the Season.
Yeah. If you like going to bloody I'm trying to think of an equivalent kind of set. It'd probably be like going to Everton and buying Richarlison.
Mm.
You know, it's not. No one would ever think he's a world class player, but then you buy him, and then actually you see when you put a belting team around him, you just see what he can do, because that's the difference as well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's no disrespect to any of the players, any of the teams or professionals, but if you go and stick me up front playing for Chorley FC, I'd be shit. I'd never get a goal. I'd never get a touch. Nothing. You put me up front for City, whether I'd score is another matter, but I'd get the ball.
Yeah. One of them balls are going
the players
to
around you.
Yeah.
I'd be the new goat. It'd just hit me and go in. But,
Yeah.
Feed the Chris.
Yeah.
When we
I think they already have.
when we got rid of Bellamy and he went to Cardiff, John Parkin, he said that he was playing one touch with him, and he came off his shin, and he says, Bellamy went, "You shit bastard, you fucking useless. You're not playing with Tevez now, kid."
Oh, it's so true, isn't it?
Right.
What do you guys, just for like my last one, what do you guys think of Schmeichel when he signed for City?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was amazing bit of shithousery against United fans.
Would you have ever said it? Because would you class him as a world-class keeper?
Not at the time, personally.
Not really signed for us, no. But when he was at United, he was the best in the world, without question. Well, that's it for another week, Blues. Hope everyone's enjoyed that. It's working out with the world-class players that have signed for City. By the sounds of it, I think we came to a unanimous decision there. We've only signed two that were actually world class at the time. That's Tevez and Torre, with Walker potentially coming into that fold thanks to Dan. But one positive is, we've signed so many players that have gone on to be world class. I think that's really a testament to City and the academy we've got. But that's all for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's podcast will be an awesome one. We've got Terry Phelan joining us, ex-Blue. Got loads to talk about him. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. We'd really appreciate if you shared this with your friends and colleagues, and even go the extra mile and head over to Apple Podcasts to subscribe and review the show. The podcast link will be in the show notes. The positive reviews that you leave for us go a huge way to increasing the visibility of City fans everywhere in the world, just like you. So if you can do that for us, I'd really appreciate that. But yeah, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter if that is your poison. And yeah, thanks very much, and we'll speak soon.